Hey, what's up, guys? So, I just want to give my general thoughts about the ketogenic diet, which seems to be popular nowadays, and also about my book. Well, first, let me focus on keto. Here's my thing. First off, I'll be honest, the ketogenic diet sounds awesome. I'm definitely in full support of it. I've read multiple books about the ketogenic diet, and I have a very strong background in molecular biology, biochemistry. It seems like a feasible diet. Here's my thought. It sounds like a reasonable diet. I'm not going to down it. It makes sense when you think about what it's trying to do. The only reason I don't do the ketogenic diet and my only concern about it is that it hasn't been studied long term. The ketogenic diet was originally used to actually treat people, like treat pediatric patients who have seizures, and they've shown that a ketogenic diet actually helps out pediatric patients who has history of seizures. My only concern about the ketogenic diet is that we don't know what it does long term. There's a lot of theories, but the thing about theories, and when you do something in practice, something may make sense in theory, but then you see in practice, wow, it does this. So you learn that, wait a minute, we don't know everything as human beings. So maybe there's a piece that I was missing in my thoughts. Even the brightest people in the world realize, like, oh, shoot, I'm missing something from the thought process that, wow, science doesn't lie. So I thought this would not happen in theory, but it did happen. So there was a flaw in my thinking, even though I'm the brightest and the best or whatever. And that's the thing about it. Low carb diets have been studied for the purposes of weight loss, but ketogenic diets, from my research, I could be wrong, show me, have not been studied long term. Because whenever I see someone talk about, like, oh, ketogenic diet works, they always pull up research about a low carb diet. The difference between a low carb diet and, oh shoot, what's up, Dave? And I'm gonna comment on that. That's awesome, awesome. The difference between a low carb diet and a ketogenic diet, let's put it like this: low carb is a general category. Just like a dog or a canine is a general category. The underdog or canine is German Shepherd, Wolf, Fox, and there's low carb, and under low carb you have the ketogenic diet, paleo diet to a certain extent, and other diets that are like just low carb. Here's for me. It just hasn't been studied for a long period of time. But my worry, at least for me and my body, is that we're learning that cardiovascular disease results from inflammation in addition to fat intake, meaning that if you have a lot of fat intake, healthy fat intake, but you don't have inflammatory things going on, such as such as high carb diets, along with that, you have a decreased risk of developing cardiovascular disease, manifested as a stroke or a heart attack. My worry, as far as me personally, is that if I were to go on a ketogenic diet, yeah, I would probably like it, but I live a very inflammatory lifestyle, meaning that I'm an ER doc. So the combination of me having a high fat diet and the fact that I'm in an ER and my cortisol levels are always shooting, my worry is that combine that with my very, very, very stressful lifestyle, now I'm setting up myself to actually develop coronary artery disease and stroke, and I have all this fat in my system. It's different. If I had a 9 to 5 job, then I would more so consider the ketogenic diet. But for me, you cannot combine a high fat diet with inflammation. That's bad. And we're learning about inflammation. There's a lot as far as cardiovascular disease. So that's one reason I don't do it, is because I live a very stressful lifestyle. And my sport of choice is CrossFit, which is very stressful to the body. I love it to death. It gets me ripped. I just feel, from what I know from the pathophysiology, I haven't seen anything that studied, ketogenic diet long term. And for me, if I have a lot of inflammation on my body because of what I choose to do as far as CrossFit and working a lot of hours, 70% of my diet is fat. I worry about that. I'm setting myself up for a heart attack. Now, what I like about what I follow is generally a low carb diet. The reason I like a low carb diet, because that gives me a lot more options. Low carb diet, I'm just focusing on the carb content. With a low carb diet, I'm just focusing on the fact that, okay, I want my carb content to be anywhere between, if I'm trying to get ripped, like 10% of my total caloric intake. So there are some days, if I have 10% of my caloric intake as carbs, that means there are some days I'm gonna have like, so that's 10. So I may have 45% carb and 45% protein and 45% fat. I feel comfortable with that. Then sometimes I may have 50% protein and 40% fat, and then 10% of my diet is carbs. The reason I like that type of diet is because, one, those type of diets have been studied for decades and they show they work. Two, look at my profile pic. There's multiple times I've done a low carb diet and gotten super ripped and felt wonderful. And what I like about low carb diets, to put it in layman terms, is that I'm telling my body to do the work. What do I mean by that? So I'm telling my body, hey, you don't have enough carbs for energy. So what I'm telling my body to do is, hey, if you want some energy, I need you to do two things, Wilboard Prairie. I need you to take your fat stores and turn those into ketone bodies and use that as your primary energy source. Or, hey, body, I'm telling you to take that protein and make that into glucose called glucose neogenesis if you have a biochemistry background, and make that do work. The whole point of what I'm telling you is that I'm making my body do work as opposed to throwing in glucose. I'm making my body do work. So I'm a big 100% component of low carb diets. Making your body find ways to get their energy source, as opposed to high carb diet, as opposed to shoving a lot of fat in your body. I have nothing against a ketogenic diet. I worry about it for me because I live a very stressful lifestyle, and you got to be careful with combining fats with inflammation. We're learning that inflammation plays a major part of heart disease and strokes, more so than fat content. You already have people who've been doing a ketogenic diet for years and they feel wonderful. They haven't had a heart attack. But for me, I live a very active, stressful lifestyle that I'm worried about that. So for me, I choose to go low carb. So for me, it's all about low carbs, where I just say, listen, I'm going to focus on just taking in this amount of carbs, but I'm going to take in as much fat and protein as I want. So I'm going to eat as much chicken as I can. But keep in mind, when you're taking a high fat protein diet, you tend to overeat a lot less because you're more satisfied, as opposed to that insulin surge you get from a carb diet. All right. I'm still working on my book. I'm finally making progress. I can't wait. My goal is to get this book written in less than a year. My goal is by the end of 2018 or even earlier, you guys will have a book by Doc Beast, and I get to combine everything that I know about health and fitness and nutrition. And this weekend I'll be away on a fitness certification. I get my CrossFit level 2, and I'm going to be on staff as a coach at one of the CrossFit gyms. All right. So I am awesome. Yes. Oh, so Bob, okay, to answer some of these questions, I tend to, whenever I talk, I look all around and think because I'm in my thoughts. The difference between a ketogenic diet and a low carb diet is that both a low carb diet and a ketogenic diet, they both focus on you keeping your carb content low. So you may have someone I may have a client who's on a ketogenic diet and a client who's on a low carb diet, and the carb contents of both diets are identical. But then, so let's just say, so I may have a carb content on both diets. So let's just say 5%. So they're literally identical, but a ketogenic diet, your fat consumption is 70%. And then your protein consumption is 20%. The low carb diet, I may have your fat percentage as 45% and your protein as 45%. That's the difference. The difference between keto, I like just plain low carb because I want more flexibility and being able to take in more protein than I need it, if I need it. And I've done a low carb. I've never done ketogenic. But I've done multiple times low carb diets, and it's gotten me ripped. I feel awesome. That's how I get, I don't know if I have it now, but that's how I get 6-pack abs. And I'm in my 230s, 240s with a 6-pack. I'm 6 feet, 240, and I'm getting 6-pack abs from a low carb diet because I'm teaching my body to use protein and fat stores. Okay. So plus I like the flexibility of being able to say, you know what, I'm going to eat for this meal, I'm going to eat bacon and a chicken breast. I don't have to worry because I know bacon and chicken breast have zero carbs. Whereas if you're on a ketogenic diet, you got to worry about you're getting too much protein from that chicken breast. That chicken breast is too much protein. Okay, so that's the difference. I like to know that it's easy for me to pick out foods that have zero carbs. It's hard for me to pick out foods for me that are high in fat and not enough. I don't want to worry about fat and protein. I just want to focus on carbs. To me, weight loss is in a when you understand what happens to the body from a hormonal level. Weight loss is about insulin. Weight loss is about insulin. Okay, so if you focus on, I honestly believe, if you focus on a low carb diet, you will reach all your performance and aesthetic goals. You know, so and for what I do CrossFit, I need protein. So that's my. Ooh, you guys are asking good questions. I've purchased a few of the exogenous ketone supplements. For me, um, I haven't I haven't put myself on these supplements on over a long period of time to see or are they effective or not effective. I just prefer to put myself in ketosis if I choose that, or make my body metabolize fats or metabolize protein by naturally having my body search for energy and choose it by itself to metabolize the fats on my body or metabolize the protein I have through gluconeogenesis turn into glucose. I'm I don't know if I'm a big fan. I don't know. I'm not saying yes or no. If I'm a big fan of taking something that makes my body go into ketosis, and I can't really say how effective it is because I've taken those supplements multiple times. I've had zero issues, but um, I haven't been on them a long period of time. So I'm not going to say yay or nay about exogenous ketone supplements. I don't have enough data on me to say that it works. Where I have plenty of data on me of going a low carb diet. True, true. When you see Bob, yep. When I used to be a Beachbody coach, I'm no longer anymore, and that's a separate discussion. Yeah, when I get ripped, when I'm up there, just as ripped as Sagi, it's because I've gone low carb and I do like Mark Sisson's diet. Mark Sisson does he does the caveman diet, but the interesting thing about paleo is paleo is not necessarily a low carb diet. People tend to get ripped from paleo because when your glucose stores come from when your carbohydrates comes from fruits and vegetables instead of candy, your insulin growth factor levels don't surge. You have an even level. So now you're telling your body, okay, let's equally build muscle, let's equally build fat. Whereas when you take in like candy bars and candy, the insulin surge is like whoop. So you're telling your body, oh my God, this is a lot. So let's store this mostly as fat, and your glucose levels fall. You become tired and weak, and you misinterpret that as hunger. You tend to overeat. Notice no one overeats apples, and apples are full of carbs, but people tend to overeat cookies and chips. So so that's why there's some people who are still able to get ripped from a paleo diet, not even paying attention to carbs, because a paleo diet, you naturally, because of the nature of the fiber and the insulin surge you get from apples as opposed to candy bars, you naturally tend not to overeat and not to put in too many calories. So Mark Sisser's diet is interesting because the content of it is paleo, but he's still focused on not taking in too many carbs. So I love Mark Sisson's page. He's the bomb. He originally was part of Beachbody, helping them out with Shakeology back in the day. So he's well. And this guy Mark Sisson, I think he's in his late 50s or early 60s, and he's ripped. He is ripped, skinny ripped, but he's ripped. And very few people have a body like him. No homo. A body like him at his age because he eats well. So that's my